I'm not scared.
You are. 100%.
You think this juvenile gonna do something? I'll be out in like 30 days. Watch.
It takes a special kind of person to run over several people and then laugh about it in court.
These guys, they did not respect the court whatsoever.
Sadly, in this case, there are two people, 17-year-old Jesus Ayala and 16-year-old Jzamir Keys. In August 2023, these two teens thought it would be fun to run two people over, taking one life and leaving the other person in the hospital with serious injuries. How does a young person end up so cruel? Who is the person whose life they took? And how is it all panning out for the culprits now? This is the full story of two teens who unalived an officer, then smirked at the camera. In the afternoon of August 14th, 2023, Andreas Probst left his home for a cycle around Las Vegas, Nevada. He kissed his wife Crystal goodbye and told her he'd be back within the hour. He had recently retired from law enforcement, and he was elated to have more time for himself and his family. But that day, Andreas would not make it home. By the end of August 14th, Las Vegas authorities contacted his wife and daughter. Andreas had been unalived in a hit and run. He had spent his entire life bringing criminals to justice. Now his life had been taken precisely by the kind of people that he would put behind bars. Two teens who were laughing and mocking the officers that arrest them. Jesus Ayala and Jzamir Keys were arrested just a few hours after taking Andreas' life. In 2 hours, they had managed to hit and run two people, steal 3 cars, and commit burglary. Andreas Probst was 64. Minutes after unaliving him, the two teens ran another cyclist over, a 72-year-old man. Through nothing short of a miracle, he survived. But his serious knee injury will affect him for the rest of his life. When the officers arrested them, they discovered that the teens had recorded everything. For them, this had been a joyride, and they wanted a video as a memory of this great day. Throughout the video, they can be heard laughing and daring each other to do ever more vile things. A few seconds after ramming into another random car, this is what the video shows.
Ready? Yeah.
Not only was this deliberate, but the teens can be heard having fun as they take an innocent life in an unspeakably brutal way. It's hard to fathom how two young people can be so evil.
I'm not scared.
You are. 100%.
Less than an hour after they took Andreas' life, the teens recorded this.
Bum, 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 bum.
Many teens, after they commit a crime, suddenly come to terms with its consequences. Shocked, they stop, even when they had plans to continue. Not these teens. They enjoyed running Andreas over so much, they decided to go for another. Luckily, someone called 911, and they were stopped before they could take more lives. After stopping their car and chasing them on foot through a parking lot, Las Vegas authorities handcuffed the two teens and put them in separate cars on the way to jail. 17-year-old Jesus Ayala, who was behind the wheel for the entire afternoon, had a big mouth in the car.
You think this juvenile gonna do something? I'll be out in like 30 days. Watch.
The officers stayed calm and assured him they had enough evidence to convict him of murder. After all, they had intentionally filmed the whole afternoon.
It's alright. We got so much video surveillance, dude.
Yeah, right.
100% is. We got video surveillance, we got your boy. Your boy ratted you out.
Is it really that serious?
Yeah, it is.
Like for real?
Yeah.
It was just dawning on him that he had taken a life, and it was all on camera. After arresting Jesus, the officers ran his name through the system. As it turns out, this was far from his first crime. In fact, he was nothing short of evil. He had been in and out of the juvenile system, and one of his last charges was DV by strangulation. Honestly, who does this to their loved ones? 18 charges were added to his record, including murder, attempted murder, battery with use of a deadly weapon, leaving the scene of an incident, and numerous separate larceny and burglary charges. When they looked at Jzamir Keys, things weren't much better. He'd been placed in the child welfare system when he was just 8. His mother had been charged with 5 counts of child abuse in 2016 after officers discovered all her 5 children, aged 2 to 9, home alone without food, with knives lying around, and the house in morbid squalor. This emphasizes the heartbreaking context in which sometimes monsters are born. Children are not usually born evil, but under the right circumstances, anyone could become evil. It's safe to say Jesus and Jzamir must have felt really unloved to become the people they are today. Interestingly, both boys' mothers were present at their court hearings, and they showed very different attitudes. Jesus Ayala's mother told 8 News, "I don't know why he did this. I don't know if God can forgive this."
Can you give us your family side of the story, please?
I don't know what happened to my son. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Jzmar's mom, on the other hand, vowed that her son's side of the story would be told and accused the media of portraying the story inaccurately. This is the mom that had left her children to starve. Now she was fiercely defending her son after he committed murder. And here's the thing, although she is trying to say her son is innocent, as he wasn't the one driving the car, he was the one encouraging Jesus to run both men over. And in another video, Jesus is filming and Jzamir is driving another stolen car, jamming into other cars. So yeah, both teens are just as guilty in the eyes of the law. And the horrors don't end there. In fact, it's about to get even more disgusting.
The crime incomprehensible, the defendant's attitude in court reprehensible. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brian Loftus.
I'm Kirsten Joyce. 2 teens in court accused of killing a cyclist.
2 months after their arrest, Jesus and Jzamir made their way to the Nevada courthouse. Perhaps it wasn't a great idea to keep them together, but their behavior is on them, not the court.
The wife and daughter of victim Andy Probst say they believe the teen's behavior here in court today shows they have zero respect.
These guys, they did not respect the court whatsoever.
Not only did Jesus and Jzamir appear chill and worry-free during their hearing, but they both looked directly at Andrew's family and smirked at them. They were proud of their deed, and they deliberately mocked their victim's family as a way to prolong their fun.
They're just kind of trying to mad dog us and intimidate us, which didn't work.
They smiled at each other, smiled at Andy's family, and even cracked jokes with each other while the judge was waving to them. During their hearing, the awful video of Jesus mocking the officers was played in court. Andy's family got to listen to how Jesus was adamant he didn't do anything big, and he would fool the system, leaving jail in just 30 days.
You think this juvenile gonna do something? I'll be out in like 30 days. What?
It's a game to them. Like, they really don't care if anyone else lives or dies. They don't care about themselves if they live or die. And that can just be shown through their own actions.
It's true. Andy's daughter, Taylor, emphasized another fact.
Who do you think failed here leading up to this?
A multitude of different people failed, but I think ultimately the parents.
Andy's wife, Crystal, came to court wearing her husband's Apple Watch, the one he was wearing when he was murdered.
It reminds me he's here with me in the courthouse, to fight for him.
Jesus and Jzmar's attorneys did not have much to use in their defense. The evidence was overwhelming.
Ayala's defense attorney raising concerns again that he believes prosecutors are trying to try this case in the media and suggesting that new evidence we just showed yesterday was leaked. However, it is public record.
Their defense attorneys couldn't even play on the teens' ages. Jesus was 17 when he committed the crime, but by the time of his trial, he turned 18. Moreover, the Nevada state has a special rule for homicide.
So in the state of Nevada, when you're charged with homicide and you're over the age of 13, you are automatically charged as an adult. When the crime that's been alleged is homicide or attempted homicide, it is not up to the judge's discretion. There are other crimes, and there's kind of a patchwork in Nevada based upon the crime and the age of the defendant, where a judge might have discretion and it might be argued between a prosecutor and a defense attorney. In this case, there's nothing to argue. The judge has certified him as an adult. That's why we know his name.
Indeed, the teens' names would have to be protected under the law if they weren't charged as adults. A Nevada chief explained why there are no questions about punishing the teens harshly.
A very appalling video which lacks morality. It's a complete lack of conscience on any part of it. And the worst part about it in the video is you hear that everything was intentional. I think that's one of the hardest things for most of us to comprehend about that video. Right now, both suspects are juveniles. They are being booked into, one's already in juvenile hall. The other one will be booked into Clark County Juvenile Hall on charges of murder.
The Clark County District Attorney, Steve Wolfson, explained the simple rules for treating the two teens as adults.
In the criminal justice system, if you are a minor and you are eligible to be charged with the crime of murder, you are automatically sent to the adult system. I am confident that that is what is going to happen in this case.
During the same conference, Andy's daughter, Taylor, spoke. The case was already being highly mediatized due to its shocking nature and the young ages of the culprits. So she wanted the media to understand that Andy was a random victim and the incident shouldn't be used to instigate political wars.
We believe that Andy's murder is a direct result of society's decayed family values and the strong effects that social media has on our youth. We as a family in no way feel that Andy's murder was based on race or profession. It was a random act of violence. We ask you to not politicize or use Andy's murder to fuel political agendas or to create cultural wars.
The teens' attitudes also did not help their case. Jzamir was so inspired that he even flipped off the courtroom camera. So yeah, they both were charged as adults. And there was something else.
And the DA says the charges include open murder. Do you mind outlining what that means specifically?
Sure. So in Nevada, the prosecutor here is going to have this tool to charge both defendants with open murder. And that's a very umbrella kind of catch-all term that allows the prosecutor to put it to the jury.
In their words, the prosecutor is telling the jury, these boys committed a plethora of crimes that day. Most of them fall under murder, but it's up to you to decide exactly what charge they will get. As you can imagine, this helps the prosecution much more than it helps the boys.
That's a spectrum, and each crime has its own elements, and each crime is going to have to require the jury to apply the facts to those elements and decide what particular degree of murder these defendants are responsible for.
With the vile evidence at hand, it's hard to see the teens getting out of the murder charge. Even manslaughter sounds too light a charge in this case.
Boom, 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 boom.
The video, and you don't have to be a legal expert to know this video is critical. It's going to be critical to the jury. It's going to be critical to the prosecution and to the defense, because there's no witness here that's going to describe how this accident happened.
Witnesses can forget or describe an event inaccurately. Some can even be coerced by the defendants or their families to lie. A video, on the other hand, speaks volumes and cannot be interpreted in different ways, at least not this video.
The video will also act as to the state of mind as to these defendants. That laughter, it's chilling, it's upsetting, it's disturbing. It shows the senselessness of this accused or alleged murder. And I think that it's going to really leave an impression on the jury. And then the third thing the video does is, from a more macro perspective, the fact that the video exists.
This only makes the tragic incident look more intentional.
The fact that these defendants, they were laughing as they themselves videotaped it. This isn't surveillance video. They took the video themselves. So I think the prosecutor is going to point out all three levels of how this video is going to work against these defendants, including the laughter, of course.
It's hard to call these two teens anything but evil. Sure, they're products of imperfect environments, perhaps so bad that they had little choice but to become monsters. But isn't everyone responsible for their actions? Can you blame your parents for your lousy behavior forever? And lousy behavior is one thing, but a murderous rampage is another. Many people come from unfortunate backgrounds, yet very few choose a cruel path. The judge set the boys' trial for September 16th, 2024. At the end of the hearing, Taylor said, Andy was a man of honor and integrity who worked for more than 35 years in law enforcement. We are devastated by the senseless murder of Andy. Andy's life was robbed by two individuals who did not believe that the lives of others matter. Deputy Police Chief Nick Farsi said, it's a cowardly act that in my 22 years of law enforcement left me personally appalled. Everyone bar the teens' families called for the harshest punishment possible. Many people urged the DA to seek the death penalty. Due to the teens' ages, this might not be possible, but hey, Jesus has already been in jail for more than the 30 days he promised the officers who arrested him. Both boys have been in jail for almost a year and a half now. No one's releasing two men, now both over the age of 18, who behave like this, who have zero value for human life, and for whom murder is fun. It's heartbreaking that Andy had to pay with his life for these two people to be put in prison. Thankfully, it looks like they won't be out in quite some time, perhaps ever. Hey, thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you know of other similar stories? Let me know in a comment down below. And before you leave, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you never miss another episode.